The life of a Philadelphia Eagles fan is never fair. It is never just. It is never really that much fun, right? The Eagles have been on a nice little streak. We're 10-1. Everything should be looking up. But, of course, our great safety just has to get hurt. So we're going to talk about what's going on with Chauncey Gardner Johnson, what we can do to maybe, kind of replace his production, and just looking forward on this team. And there's a couple games I'm scared of. I'm going to be 100% honest. So we're going to talk about that. So let's get into it.
You want Philly?
Yeah, let's do it. Let's do it.
What's going on, you guys? It's your boy Joe Castro, a.k.a. Philly Fresco, and it is Philly the podcast. So today we're going to talk about what we got to talk about. Obviously, Chauncey Gardner Johnson is out for an extended period of time. They are saying that there's no timetable, but I have been talking to some guys and kind of got an understanding of how long this may take for Chauncey Gardner Johnson. Also, we're going to talk about Reed, man. I think Reed Blankenship went in there and played very well. And we're going to talk a little bit about this team overall. Now, before we get into that, be sure to hit that like, hit that subscribe, join the family. We are on the road to 4K. We would love for you guys to join that ride. So let's hop right into it, man. So we're going to start with the bad. We're going to start with the negative because I want to get it out the way. I want to get it over with, okay? Chauncey Gardner Johnson is out with a I can't even say it, lacerated kidney. His kidney got cut, okay? I don't know why they got to use big words. His kidney got cut. He's bleeding out his kidney. It's not a good thing. Look, they are saying there's no timetable, and mainly because they don't know if he's going to need surgery. If he needs surgery, we're looking at 6 weeks. We're looking at probably 6, maybe 7 weeks. If he doesn't get a surgery, we're looking 2 to 6 weeks, somewhere in there, depending on how long it takes for him to, heal up naturally. This isn't a season-ending injury, and it shouldn't be a season-ending injury. It sucks. It really does suck, especially, obviously, for Chauncey Gardner Johnson. This is a painful injury, but it sucks for the Eagles. We're going down the stretch. These are games we definitely want to win, obviously, if we want to have that first place in the NFC. And losing somebody like Chauncey Gardner, who's just gotten better every single week, is really going to hurt the Eagles. Look, it is. We're going to talk about how we can possibly, match his production or replace his production while he's gone. But there is no other Chauncey Gardner Johnson, right? And we've also seen the Eagles making it pretty known that they want to re-sign him when this offseason is up. Something like this, an injury like this, might hurt his bottom line. It might hurt his money. So hopefully it doesn't. I hope that he comes back and he's 110% and he's good to go. But that is what the news is with Chauncey Gardner Johnson. It's a lacerated kidney. It's a cut kidney. And we're looking at 2 to 6 weeks. We're looking maybe 7 weeks at the most. And what does that say to me? That says he'll be good for the playoffs. And I think that is the main concern for all Eagles fans. Obviously, we want to win these games during the regular season, right? These games during the regular season are very, very important. But we need all our dogs when it comes to the playoffs, right? We're looking at Jordan Davis coming back, Avonte Maddox coming back. Now we add Chauncey Gardner Johnson to that list. So hopefully we have a full team when it comes to the playoffs. So I'm concerned, yes. I'm worried. I'm upset. I'm a little bit disappointed, a little sad that Chauncey Gardner Johnson is hurt. But at the same time, I feel like we have guys that can possibly take that spot. Now, we're going to look at Reed Blankenship, right? Reed Blankenship, I think that he had an opportunity and he made the most of his opportunity. Is he perfect? No, he's not. He's not perfect. He's an undrafted rookie. He's a young guy. He's played a lot of football in Middle Tennessee. So this kid knows how to play football. And not just that, when you look at a safety position, when you look at defensively in general, it takes snaps to really get comfortable. This man went into in my opinion, one of the most complicated systems, especially for defensive backs. We saw it last year. It's very, very hard in Jonathan Gannon's system to understand and read and react to where you are supposed to be, because in Jonathan Gannon's system, if you are 10 feet away from where you're supposed to be, that throws everything off. So him being able to make such a big play in the passing game, to get that interception and then be able to read and react and kind of cut through the offense and the blocking and just, he made some plays, and he also just threw his body out there, which I love to see. I love seeing players just go out there and just jump at guys. Like, that's amazing, especially when you're a smaller guy, right? He's not the biggest guy in the world, and he's just literally laying out and trying to knock these guys out. So I love that, but I also just love the smarts. I feel like he watched the play. He let the play develop, and then he reacted. He didn't try to do too much. He didn't try to be places that he wasn't supposed to be. He didn't try to do things that maybe Chauncey Gardner Johnson would do. He was Reed Blankenship, and I think that that's a huge thing for the Philadelphia Eagles going into this postseason and the stretch of this season. Reed Blankenship can be a guy that down the line we look at and say, worst case scenario, we got another Marcus Epps, because I really do feel that's probably going to be his floor. Like, he's going to be a solid starter at the very worst. Now, maybe I'm, overreacting. It's just one game, obviously, and it's not even a full game for Reed, but I don't know, man. It really does make me feel confident that Reed was able to go in there and just perform as well as he did. Now, will he by himself be able to just take over and, make up for Chauncey Gardner not being there? Probably not. We saw Kayvon Wallace go out there a little bit, made a good play, right? He made a big play, especially in the end zone. It was a pass interference, if I'm being 100% honest, but they didn't call it, right? Hey, Jason Kelce told us we couldn't get mad about the face mask because they didn't call it. So if it didn't happen because they didn't call it, the defensive pass interference did not happen for Kayvon because they didn't call it. But at the end of the day, he made a big play in the end zone. He didn't give up anything crazy in that game. So hopefully, I'm going to say it again, hopefully, Kayvon Wallace can go out there and give us some good snaps. I'm a little bit nervous, but we're going to have to depend on him a little bit. But I do think that Reed Blankenship will be able to go out there and at least give us a solid role. Again, I don't think that he'll be the guy that fully takes it over and fully is the guy, and especially when Avonte Maddox comes back, that helps us in the slot as well. But Josiah Scott's been doing pretty well in the slot anyways, which I'm going to do a video about that after this. So definitely check out for that. Y'all probably ain't going to like what I have to say about that, but it is what it is. That's why we talk. Lastly, I want to talk about who is going to lead this team. Because the Philadelphia Eagles, with these injuries, right, we see obviously going against Green Bay. It was in Philadelphia. We had to go into a dogfight in that because we are down a couple players. Who led us through that game, and who do I think is going to lead us through the rest of this season? I think Jalen Hurts is obvious, right? Jalen Hurts is the obvious name. Our defensive line, man, I know that you look at our defense and you look at we almost gave up like 30-something points. I get it. Our defense didn't play that great, but down the stretch, our defensive line was able to get to the quarterback. Our defensive line was able to especially get to Aaron Rodgers and end that game on our terms. So this is going to come down to Linval Joseph, Jordan Davis coming back. Fletcher Cox had a really good game. Javon Hargrave, we're going to need you to keep on having good games. Josh Sweat has had quietly a very, very good year. And you look at the rest of this team, Milton Williams has done pretty well. I can go down the list, and Ndamukong Suh has made some impact plays since he's been here. This defensive line and offensive line, but mainly this defensive line, in my opinion, especially because of the injuries, is going to be what we have to heavily rely on. We're going to need Fletch and company to go out there and give us dog games. Just go out there and get 3-4 sacks a game. That's what we need. That's what we need. A nice little tidbit. Aaron Rodgers has played almost 200 games. Aaron Rodgers has played so many games, right? Sunday was only the second time in his whole career that he's thrown 2 interceptions and gotten sacked 3 times. That's the only second time in his whole career. That man has played since I was like 4. So think about that. The Philadelphia Eagles defense can come back if that defensive line gets it together and is consistent. That's how I'm feeling. So I just wanted to kind of talk about, the Chauncey Gardner Johnson injury, talk about Reed Blankenship. You guys let me know what you're thinking. Let me know how you guys feel about this team so far. I am going to drop another video. I might go live a little bit later, probably with James for Best of Enemies. But other than that, y'all know what it is, man. It is Fly Eagles Fly. And we are out here. Peace!
Eagles fans everywhere, this is for you.
Fly Eagles flying on the team. Touchdown. Time to get Jalen this ring. You don't really want to start a thing. This a Bird Gang Nation, baby. It's a Philly thing. Hater, and you looking like you type trash. I'm just here calling on Philly the podcast. And we can call a man dog or watch Miles score off the handoff. Rest of the division, your man saw Jackson like Sean, hunting like Randolph. Season here, really time to do them in. Your boy Philly Fresco. Thanks for tuning in.